Welcome to the Ambitious Coach Podcast. This is a place where driven, determined coaches learn how to get off the business growth struggle bus and learn how to build a wildly profitable online coaching business. I'm your host, Allison Henderson, corporate dropout to six-figure social media business coach. I'm going to show you how I've been able to create the business of my dreams organically, all through utilizing my social media platforms. So pull up a seat, take some notes, and get ready to see your life and bank account transform. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Ambitious Coach Podcast. In today's episode, I interview Sabrina Antou. Sabrina is an energy healer and manifestation coach. She merges life coaching and energy healing to help her clients design and create the life and business of their dreams. She has such a powerful and peaceful essence to her. You're really going to feel it in this episode. And in this interview, I ask her questions around how she aligned with her coaching pricing, what she really thinks is going on when we feel we're doing all the right things and nothing is working, and how do we know if we have bad energy and what can we do about it? She really has a gift, and I know you will feel her energy healing through this episode. So enjoy. Hello, everyone. It is Allison, and today I have a very special guest. Her name is Sabrina. She actually calls herself Sabrina the Financial Witch. I don't know if she actually calls herself that, but she mentioned it once, and I thought it was so cute. And so I had met Sabrina a few weeks ago, actually, and we just had a nice little coffee chat and hit it off, and I just had to have her on this podcast. She is one of those souls that when you just get into her aura, her just presence, she's so calming and just peaceful. And she's a healer. If you guys she's a healer, so that helps. But she's also a manifestation coach. And I wanted to have her on today because she just has such a great way of, I don't know, her mindset around her coaching business and just life and manifestation was very interesting to me. And I wanted to have her on today. So hello. Hi, Sabrina. Welcome.
Hi, Allison. Thank you for having me today.
So Sabrina, I would love for you, because you are a corporate dropout just like me. I'd love for you to share your story. Like, how were you able to leave that and then now be this healer? And just, it's such a drastic change of careers. So I'd love for you to share that story with everybody.
Sure. So it's interesting because a lot of people assume that it was a hard decision to make. Whilst in reality, I couldn't wait. So it's basically, for me, it was not much of a change. It was more like feeling home for the very first time. Whilst when I was in my job, I was feeling like it was foreign to me and I was not feeling like I was fitting in. And it was more painful than anything else. So going into that space, which already was a personal interest of mine, was basically doing what I always love doing for fun, for a living.
I agree. Like, I have a very similar story, which I know we've talked about before, but for like the listeners, it's like, I knew I was different. I was not meant to be here. Yet I was like at the water cooler being like, you're happy doing this? Like every day, like 9 to 5, or like pretty much like you're waking up at 6, not getting home till 6. Like, you're totally cool with this. Like I had such a feeling of that too. Of just like, I know that I was supposed to have a fun life where we're like meant to feel alive. And it wasn't just like the pay the bills and die sort of situation. So I totally resonate with that. So how did you become a healer though? Like, how did that all transpire?
Sure. So I've always had a thing for coaching when I was very young. And after 1 year working, so my background is investment banking, so finance, very different from what I'm doing now. And after 1 year, I actually had considered becoming a coach. At the time, it was not as popular as today. It was actually a weird word that very few people had heard of. And I remember I even contacted someone who from the top business school in France, and they were offering executive coaching. master, and he was telling me, oh, it's more people who are in their 30s, 40s who come, psychologists, psychiatrists. And I was like 23. And he was like, but Mozart started at 5, so why not? So after that, I was like, okay, maybe it's a little risky then, the way he talks about it. So I played it safe and I stayed because I wanted to have an ROI on my studies. But many, many, many years later, I was going through my own spiritual journey. And one day someone sent me a link to, it was a healing session. I had no idea what it was. And as soon as I listened to it, I felt something in me. And I thought, wow, I need this. And as I did the program, I decided to take the training. And at the same time, I decided to finally start the online coaching business that I've always, was in my heart. And I basically included what I was going through in my own healing with my clients. And I was like, wow, I was wowed by the results. My clients were wowed by the results. I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And I was just replicating. And then I took the training. And then I developed my own style because I was as excited, if not more excited than my clients to see the results. And so, initially it was for me that I did it, because I had a lot of pain. I had a lot of inner turmoil that I couldn't find a way to deal with. And it's only through healing that I basically realized that it had nothing to do with affirmation or changing my mindset or doing things, because I was deeply wounded inside. And my energy was very damaged. And it's only through healing that I managed to find that inner happiness and inner peace that I'd been looking everywhere before. And I became even angry at books at some point, because nothing can give me my answer. I took tons of coaching and I was still in pain and in suffering. And I had a lot of anxiety, which I even didn't know was anxiety, because I wanted to, I wanted to be positive, but underneath there was a huge amount of pain that I couldn't avoid at some point, but I didn't know how to handle it. So the healing allowed me to go very deep and close the wounds.
Wow. I feel like you said something that's like, you almost feel like you're doing all the right things. Like you're reading the books, you're hiring the coaches. And I know so many people are doing this right now. It's like you're doing all the right things. Like, oh, I didn't realize it was such like a deep inner battle that you're having with yourself. So I guess tell me, like, somebody right now who does feel like they're doing all the right things and nothing seems to be working. Like, what do you suggest them to do?
So what I tend to say is you have some sort of pattern, like you feel like you are in Groundhog Day, and the same thing keeps happening over and over again, no matter how much you've tried, no matter how much mindset you've done, no matter how much coaching you've done, and then you still fall into that hole, is because there is something off with your energy. And if that is not addressed, you're going to keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And it's only healing, in my personal experience, that is going to help you break that cycle.
So tell me though, is it something somebody can do by themselves, or do you recommend hiring somebody like you? How did you know to oh no, I need somebody else to help me with this. I can't do this alone.
Yeah, I tend to say that self-healing goes to a point. Even the best healers need someone else to work on them. I have my own healer. I can't do my own healing. Yes, I can work on a few things, but the deepest scars that I had, the deepest wounding, it's somebody else that saw it and removed it and cleared it for me. So yes, you can work on your energy. It's going to prepare you. You can do, so I have a free meditation that I recommend my clients to do before they come with me for a session. It's basically around connecting to to the light and running through the light through all of your energy points. So it's basically to awaken the parts of you, to be receptive. It's going to heighten your energy to a certain point, to a certain level. But if you have like deep wounding, you need a proper professional to do that surgery inside you.
It's interesting that you say surgery, because I even from my own energy work that I've done, like it's like these big energy cords that somebody is like holding for you and like removing pieces of yourself. And that I've done it before. And I think so many, you might even be listening to this episode being like, I'm a little skeptical. Like, I don't know, how do people do this? Right. And just from my own experience, it is so freeing when somebody does that, like the energy work on you. It in my mind too, it's like just putting somebody like in that state of like pure relaxation is always so helpful too. But like, tell me, like, somebody that is skeptical about energy healing, like what do you say to somebody that's like, I don't know if I believe this, like how, like, what do you do? Like, I don't get
it. It is very interesting because someone asked me the same question, literally the same question yesterday. And my answer is, if you're skeptical, don't come.
Totally, just don't come. I feel you. I definitely feel you on this. Just based off of like friends and family who have like, this is like when I first started, because I don't know if you guys knew this about me, but I was Reiki, and like I loved energy work. I loved breath work, all those sort of things. And I incorporate that some into my business now a little bit, but yeah, like at the beginning, like all my friends and family were just like, they just didn't get it. They didn't get it at all. And I know a lot of spiritual coaches like always kind of have that feeling too of like, no, nobody gets it. And so I guess tell me, how do you attract those people then? Like, obviously a lot of people that are listening to this podcast are coaches trying to get clients. So how did you start attracting the believers, the people that weren't skeptical?
Okay, so I have a specific way to handle my business or clients to come to me. So basically I target those who are already, I call them very advanced. And it's only... So the language I speak, what I formulate is going to attract those who resonate with it. Those who don't might either be intrigued and want to know more and be completely clueless and just move along, which is totally fine for me. And that's how I've been handling it. Like, I was about to say waste, but sorry if I say something negative, but right, I don't spend time explaining myself. There are plenty of teachers and coaches there who love educating. I don't educate, I heal. And along the way, I will talk about my methodology and my approach. But if for those who have already done some work on themselves, who already get it, who are already into a certain mindset, that will be close to me. And the let's say if you just very let's say isolated in your Cartesian mind, it's going to be hard to make that jump. It's going to take you some time. First, to have that desire. Second, go through the learning curve. Third, do your first baby steps. Get disappointed. Try again. That takes many years. Like, I know how long I took. So people are each on their different path, different journey. I am focusing on those who are already advanced. And, I was thinking about that earlier. And now I'm like, because of the way I structured my business, I'm very happy to work with a limited number of people instead of attracting a huge number. But the people I'm going to work with, they are the ones who are working with a huge audience. And that's how I impact, the rest. I impact the community through the person I'm working with or on. Because when I work on them, then they are going to shift the energy, they're going to skyrocket. And that's how I'm going to impact indirectly the bigger audience. But I prefer to be with a small group of people that I can give my time, focus, attention to, and go very in depth, because The way I see my work is really like art. I go inside and I tweak these little things that are going to create these huge, massive breakthroughs. And it's like either a tennis coach or even an architect. You have those that will do the houses and those who will create these huge, impressive kind of design. You have very few of them, and they will work on a very few projects. So that's how I see my work.
Yeah. Well, I love that, because I think there's a lot of coaches that feel like they need to have hundreds of clients a year to feel successful. And it's like, well, no, really, maybe for you, it's like, I only need one client a month, or, 2 clients a month, or something like that, to feel like, hey, I'm making the money I want to make, but I'm also knowing that I'm making a really big impact on this one person who's maybe serving a lot of people, right? Like, they could, like, and I know this is like the ripple effect. It's like one person like that we've like literally changed their whole life could just literally set up this huge ripple effect in our community or in our countries and our wherever. Like, and so I love that you say that, because I think there's a big misconception that's like the more clients, the better. And it's like, what's that always true? I just need to really overserve one person or, a few clients a year.
So and also because of the price point I chose. So if someone wants to learn from me, I've created a lot of free content that they can consume, or there are courses that they can take that it's going to be accessible. So it's still possible to learn from me, but to work directly with me. That's what I was thinking earlier. I'm happy to have a small container, because that's when I can thrive in what I do. That my expertise can really go, because I go very deep. I do very thorough work, and that takes a certain amount of time and energy and expertise, and that's where I get excited.
Yeah. You brought up a really good point when it comes to the pricing aspect of like, I just knew that my price point needed to probably be higher. Like, how did you like make that decision for yourself? Or did a coach maybe tell you, like, I don't know, tell me how you got to that point?
It's both. So I took a course when it was around selling. But it was not them who told me. It was the part of me that was still wanting it, but still felt shy doing what I truly desired in my heart. So what happened is that course, or that coach that gave that course, gave me permission to actually express what I truly wanted to charge and do it. And in fact, I charge higher than that coach now. So, it's not that they told me that price. It's like, do what feels good for you, that excites you. And to me, by the impact that I know I create and that level of expertise that I have that is unique, it felt right for me. And I felt like super excited to then finally allow myself to do what I truly wanted.
Yeah. And then also like feel energetically aligned to that dollar amount. It's like, I know if I charge this, I'm going to have the life that I would desire.
Yes. And it's almost as if, when I chose that, I was like, okay, now we're talking. Now I can do the work and feel that I am getting compensated for the level of work that I'm performing.
So I guess what advice would you give to somebody right now? Because you said the word permission, like, and maybe we can give them permission today. Like, it's okay to raise your prices. If you right now are feeling like I'm so magical, right? Like I am so magical. I know I can transform lives. And what advice would you give to them? Like right now, it's like, how can they make that little energy shift inside of them?
Okay, so I would say if nobody was judging you, how much would you charge?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, because I know that my biggest fear was being judged. It was a huge, massive fear. You have no idea. I almost have a panic attack when I did it. But
that first like time you said it.
It's like it was something. We all have our deep hidden fears or insecurities when we become visible, when we put out something of our making. It's our baby. And we put a dollar amount to it for who is going to be allowed to benefit from it, from that service that you put your heart and soul into.
So even thinking about your ideal client, like I know that he said earlier, like I'm serving the person who she's not starting at A, when we're thinking like A to Z, she's not at A, right? She's like closer to the end of the alphabet here. Like, so tell me, like, this ideal client, her money mindset, especially to afford services to work with you. Like what kind of shift do you think she needed to make inside of her when it comes to like paying for something like this? Does that make sense?
Okay, so I work with both men and women. Mm-hmm. So it's he and she. So it's
she.
Both.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's why I don't say she, because it can be a man as well. So my client, usually it's people who don't see money as an issue when it comes to get what they truly desire, and they know it's going to get them there.
Oh, I love that. I think so many people, because I even was in the DMs today and someone's like, nobody can afford my services. So, and that's like a lot of the reason why I asked that question is because like what needed to shift inside of her is like, this is energy work. Like sometimes we can't see it right away. Like it's not like, it might not be a tangible result that like we can see like in our life right when we're done working with that person. It might be something gradually over time. They're like, oh, now, I mean, you might be, I might be wrong. Like they might leave that session being like, no, you transform my life. Like, like right now.
Well, my sessions are pretty strong. Yeah. And in fact, I even asked a client the other day, and I said, why do you keep coming back to me? And she said, because I see results.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Good.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, and like I said, I think somebody like, oh, nobody can afford my services. And it's like, how do we attract these people that can afford the service? And it's like, you just said, like, she doesn't see money as an issue. Like that's something she like loves to invest in. So I'm going to say, the following. My clients, they know that they're going to get a certain outcome. And it's like, when you buy, okay, maybe it's pretentious, but I heard that comparison somewhere. Someone said it. One of the coaches out there mentioned it, and it resonated when I heard it. So I'm going to do something similar. So basically, when you buy something of branding, like let's say a Ferrari, or you know what you're buying. Yeah.
It's expensive, but you know that the sound of the motor or the speed, you know what your money is going to give you. And that's what my clients come for, because they know. And okay, so I've had maybe a few people, okay, let's say it's their very, very first time. They're a little bit worried, a little nervous. I make them comfortable, but then somehow the reason why they made that step, it's because at some point they felt something through one of my content, through an event I did, through something that experienced that drew them in. So they don't come completely unaware. They already have done some sort of step towards me, that they're already into the journey already.
Yeah. You brought up such a great point, because I think so many people don't believe that there's like a convincing or stuff that's done before they even get on a call with you. Like I always say, your content does the convincing for them. Like it makes them feel a certain way or whatever. Like we always remember how people made us feel, right? So like clearly like you made some sort of energetic shift inside of them just from your free content or from one of your courses or something like that. And I think so many people put so much pressure on like, oh, when I get on a sales call, I will be convincing them of, it's like, no. Everything's done before. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Like, and that's why I don't do sales calls.
Love it. It's like, I don't have to do sales calls.
I don't do it. The reason also is, and that's, it's very interesting because I had I have massage regularly. So I have my Ayurvedic massage therapist. I had and we were chatting and we said, sometimes some people book a session. No, they call him to book or they inquire, but then they don't do it. He said, because sometimes when you connect with someone's energy, it's enough to get some sort of results.
That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I started by doing sales calls, but then I realized after the 15 minutes talk, they were already like, getting the kind of the healing. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
If there was time and my energy. So now I prefer to do it, and there is enough content out there, there is a free healing session that they can experience without me using my time. So yeah, so that's why and the fact that I offer single sessions, so that there are bigger programs, but I actually tell, when someone inquires with me, I tell them, well, what do you need? What do you want to focus on? And they tell me. And then I said, well, because you haven't worked with me yet, I would suggest a single session first. So that they know what they're getting into. I don't like them not knowing, because I want them to be ready to work instead of going blindly to something they have no idea what it is. Mm-hmm. Because those who work with me, they already experience something and they want more. But I don't want someone to come not knowing because I promised something. I don't do this. I've been on the other side. I don't like it because, it's not necessarily sometimes what you believe it is. So and that's why I always have very happy clients because those who come to me, they've already consumed some of my content, or they've already experienced something. So when I tell them about one program or the next, they're in because they've already got results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love the idea of continuing to enroll like almost the same people into many of your programs. That's something I know I'm going to be working on for the next, obviously, few years. I'll be coaching. But like, when I think of like, it's not just a one and done event. Like you want that same person to call you the next week or the week after, be like, hey, I want more sessions with you. So I guess, are you looking at, okay, so you guys can't see her, but she's looking at like, so tell me, is that not true? Like, or do you like, no, I want them to come once and that's it. So tell me.
I think, okay, so someone said to me, the good thing with you is that you don't make people dependent on you.
Ah, okay. I love this.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, however, there are people who have loads to deal with, loads to process, loads to work on. And that will require a longer period of time, because then we need to do the work. We need to dig in. We need to, like when I work, you have to go to the very roots and then gradually work up to to create the magical transformation, to do that skyrocket jump. It doesn't happen overnight. The jump will happen overnight, but the work to get there, it depends how damaged your energy is and how much repair needs to be done.
Yeah.
So some will need more work than others. I know I needed loads of work because there was a lot of stuff inside me that needed to be addressed. Some others, they have had enough or they have done a lot of work. So one session will open big door for them, but not everybody. Because it's areas where you are in your healing journey, and some people need more healing than others, and some people might not need any healing ever because they've been born with a good energetic bank account. They were never in deficit when it comes to love, abundance, and life is smooth and sailing for them. And it happens. You can see that around us, And some other people are always in dire strait, always drama, accident, and like, whoa, their energy is quite damaged. That's why so many bad things happen.
Yeah. You got my wheel spinning here. But so how does somebody know they have bad energy? Does that make sense? Like, I always
Sure.
I think I have good energy. And I actually believe that. Like,
Yeah.
right? I have good energy. But like, somebody might be listening to this and being like, well, how do I know if I have good or bad energy?
Look at your life. Do you have a lot of drama happening? Do you have people taking advantage of you? Did you lose money? Can you keep money? Is your love life plain sailing, or is that a lot of trouble going on? Do you feel like life is flowing, or do you feel cluttered inside? Your life is going to tell you, and your level of contentment and happiness. I mean, if you're happy with everything, please, like, I'm very happy. I'm not like forcing anybody to do any healing, like only if they want to. But it's like, it's up to. So when people come to me, it's because they have a specific desire that they haven't managed to get it, or they have some deeper issues, and then we discover even bigger issues because at the moment where they start having issues, that means, wow, a lot of stuff has already been, it's like a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
So and I know that in some people have done a lot of inner work, and that's great. So, but some don't even have that level of awareness at all. So they might need more digging, more work. But to answer, how do you know? Well, if you feel stuck, that's already a sign.
Yeah. So one last question. Like, if people always ask me, like, when am I going to be successful? Like, when is it going to happen? And not that I have a hard time, like, telling everybody, like, divine timing, like, keep taking action, like, keep doing the things you need to do. But I know, like, you're like, well, you could do all the right things, like, continue to take action and still not see the results, right? Like, something could really be blocking you, right? So I'd love for you to touch a little bit more on, like, when, how, like, all those sort of things. Like, I know you get these questions all the time too. How would you answer that?
There are various folds to that, to answer this. First, I'm going to talk about the basic stuff that everybody talks about in personal development. When, oh my gosh, you're too attached. That's why it doesn't come, because your energy is pushing away. That's what the standard answer is. And it's not wrong. My answer as a healer, there is something blocking you. And as soon as it removes, things are going to start rolling and flowing, provided you already have a sound mindset. If you're a whiner all the time and you want things to come to you and you don't want to do anything, well, you might not be the right client because it's for people who have done all the things. They keep believing, they keep having faith, and then they keep falling on their face. This person needs help energetically.
Yeah.
Because yes, it's divine timing, but divine timing, yes and no, because when you unlock what is blocking you energetically, you are going to see a massive difference.
Wow.
And funnily enough, because a lot of people, the people who ask these questions, and I know really well because I was one of them, they have a deep-seated anxiety inside them that makes them fearful and highly anxious about life in general. It's not about the business only, it's about everything. It's like almost on edge all the time. That is because there is some deep, deep pain that has nothing to do with the business that makes you feel that way. And when that is addressed and that's healed, nothing is going to feel like a big deal anymore. That combined with removing the block, not only are you going to flow, but you're not going to feel like hopeless and in despair. So then you're going to have these compounding effects that are going to jump you forward.
Wow. So we need to book, everyone needs to book a session with you for sure. Sabrina, I mean, obviously, like I like you're just such a light in my world right now. I love your content. I'm definitely going to be going to download your free session. Like I'll put that in the show notes too, if you don't mind sharing that with everybody. I think everybody needs a little Sabrina healing session in their life. Like,
yes.
Tell everybody like how can they contact you? Like, how can they book sessions with you? Like, I feel like this is something really needed in everybody. Like, it's one of those things for me where it's like, we don't know what we don't know. And having somebody like you being like, this is what you need to be doing to feel better, to accelerate your success or whatever that is that they desire. Like, what do they need to be doing? Like, how can they contact you?
Sure. They can go to my website. It's the Magnificent Abundance Manifesto. I think it's /individual-session or just browse.
We'll put it in the show notes. We'll put it in the show notes. Yeah.
So you go on my website and you can even message me on Messenger from there because you have the chat option. Beforehand, it would be really good to go through my content and get infuse yourself with my, what I'm talking about, my free content, watch my stuff so that you're already used to my style, because I have a tendency. So I have a client she actually wrote it in her testimonial. She said, Sabrina gives it to you straight. So I talk about, I'm brutally honest. So if I see something, of course I'm going to be nice to you, but I'm not going to hide the things that are in your way. So sometimes it's an energy block, but sometimes it's also you that is in the way. Usually it's more energy though, because those who come to me, they've tried everything on earth and still nothing has happened. And I tune in with the energy and then I go straight to the core because I see what is in the way. So, but yeah, so I tend to recommend whoever is contacting me to get familiar with my energy, to make sure they're comfortable, it suits them, they feel already soothed with my energy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you so much, Sabrina. Like I said, I love you. I think you're so amazing. And yeah, any last words of wisdom for the audience today?
Give me a theme that you would like to help your audience with. What would be the thing
money, making more money? I know that's always a big one. I want to make more money.
Your money is money. Okay, how long do you have? I'm kidding.
You can talk for as long as you want, Sabrina. This doesn't have to be the end.
So money is related to so many things.
Yeah.
With us is a relationship with receiving, with abundance, with love, with giving, with how we are comfortable, being seen and everything. So,
yeah.
So it's not one single thing, and that's why it's hard.
Yeah,
because it's there are people. Okay, so one thing though, I do a holistic approach. So when people come to me, what I touch is going to affect everything in their lives. You can go to someone else who will focus on bringing you money. They will work on whatever needs to be worked on for money to come in your life. But then you might have a huge tax bill and then you might lose the money, invest it in the wrong place, get a fight with your partner, because they're focused only on money, you will get the money, but then there will be some collateral damage because of how energy is played.
Gotcha.
When I work, when I worked on my clients, it's everything that needs to be tweaked, combined. So it's a deeper work, so that when you have abundance in your life, you keep thriving, you keep progressing, and you don't go backwards again. So the simple advice is look at your relationship with money, do some work around it. Is that going to be enough? Well, just start with that and see what happens. Yeah. And then if you see some progress, great. If you don't, then you might need some, because sometimes as well, it's you bring with you your crap, it's not yours. You bring with you stuff from your family line.
Generational trauma.
Yes, that is stuck to you, and you can try everything, but you have that thing that is stuck with you, and you need to remove it. But also past lives.
Yeah.
So it can be a little complex, and that's why I can't give one single answer. Yeah. So I would say work on your relationship with money. Do as much energy work that you can do by yourself, and see if you need additional help.
Gotcha. Wow. I have so many more questions. You'll have to come back.
Sure.
Thank you, Sabrina. I really appreciate you being here today. And everybody check out the show notes to make sure you contact her, follow her on Instagram, check out all her free resources. And yeah, thank you so much. I'm giving you air kisses.
Thank you. Kisses too. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ambitious Coach podcast today. A couple favors before you go. If you found this episode helpful, please take a screenshot and share it on Instagram. Most importantly, don't forget to tag me at Allison Henderson _coach. That's ALLISON Henderson _coach. And lastly, please take a minute to rate this episode and leave a raving review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in to listen. Okay, ambition is great, but it's time to get to work. Take action and commit to being 1% better every day. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again next week.